Thank you for tuning in to Sunny Side Up podcast. I'm your host, David, and I think today we're going to talk about being happy with yourself and not relying on external sources for your happiness. So I really think about this a lot when it comes to just any time when I'm driving in the car, in the shower, whatever. It's very important, I think, to somebody's happiness as a whole for their entire life. If you don't rely on something like alcohol, drugs, hookup culture, whatever, for your happiness, because the way I see it is, I think about it like a fire. So you are warm yourself, like you have your own body heat. And I think about that like being happy with yourself, right? So when you stand next to a fire, the only source that, like if you're cold, you stand next to a fire, that fire warms you up, just like hookup culture, alcohol, drugs, whatever. But then as soon as you walk away from it, you're cold again. But if you can exercise, like being happy with yourself, you don't need that fire to keep you warm. And in fact, you can warm other people up with your own body heat. So just like if you're happy with yourself, you can share that with other people that may need it and that may appreciate it too. Because I mean, you don't want to help other people that don't want to be helped, right?
I agree.
So I just, that's the way I think about it is, the further that you walk away from that external source, the more depressed that you are. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I'm trying not to go in a million different directions here because I think I have a lot to say, but I've always told you, and it can apply to many different topics, I guess, but I always say, don't listen to other people. And I don't mean that in like breaking rules and, being a bad person because of it, but
It's fun. It's fun to do bad things.
there's just so much going on in this world that I think we just forget to look at the simple things and enjoy life for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that came to me earlier today was, and I'd seen this in a few places, but like, you always see footage of people like in Africa or countries around the world and people that don't have anything compared to us, but they're always so joyful and happy. And that always makes me think just like, man, these people really don't have anything.
Yeah.
But they're thrilled just to be living and they're dancing and, yeah.
You bring up those people in Africa and really anywhere around the world.
Yeah.
It does not take hardly anything for them to be happy. For somebody in Africa to be happy, that means that they did not die that day from a militant group chasing after them. They didn't get eaten by a lion, right? That being a happy day for them means that they were able to find food, find water, bring it home to their families, and that's it. That's all it takes to make them happy. I mean, that in their world, that is a good day. In our world, that's status quo, right?
Bless, yeah.
So it's like, I really think that on the simplest, most primal form, people like those people in Africa are much, much more happy than we are. Because it's like, we have more things to make us happy or sad, right? So it's just, I think that I think that everybody should go back. Like, I remember watching a YouTube video about a guy that went to Africa and lived with a tribe just for a week, and he said, "Oh my God! Like, the first day I was there, I was like, where's my phone at? Like, I'm thirsty, I'm hungry, like." But then after, a day or two, that kind of went away because you just you go through the motions of living life on a very simple level, and you don't care about what's on your phone. That doesn't make you happy anymore, right? What makes you happy is doing your job, and that job is going out and finding food. So I think in America and any Western culture that we depend on these niceties for our happiness is stupid. And I think a lot of us know it's stupid, but we do it anyway. But the happiest times in my life that I can remember, and this is obvious, big shocker, is when I was doing well. Like I like to work out, so the happiest times in my life were when I'm in the gym and I'm making good progress. Shocker, right? But it's obvious, and I think a lot of people don't, like, they overlook those things.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I think that everybody should always strive to be the best that they can be in everything. And with that comes happiness, right? Like Andrew Tate always says, oh, I'm depressed. Okay, get a six-pack and talk to me later. I mean, if you can just do something like that simple, I really doubt that you would still be sad after doing that.
6-pack abs, not
Yeah.
6-pack beer.
Yeah, I should clarify. Yes, a six-pack abdominals. Yeah. Because that would majorly contradict the whole point of this episode.
Yeah.
Thank you. 6-pack abdominal muscles. Yeah. But it's the simple things that get overlooked. Just like we were saying with the people in Africa, the simple things get overlooked. How simple is to have a happy day, find food? That's very simple. That's it, right? But it's overlooked. And I remember, what movie was this? I was watching a movie about a kid that was, I think, what was it? He was in a plane crash in the woods, and he was basically living a wilderness life for a couple years until he was found. And if anyone knows what this movie is, let me know. But at the end of the movie, he went into the store, a grocery store, and was just amazed at all the food that they had just readily available. Like, I don't have to hunt for my meat. Like, I don't have to forage for my vegetables. Like, it's just the simple things like that can really make a difference. And I think when you can combine just being happy with the little things in life and not relying on, like I said, drugs, alcohol, hookup culture for your happiness, and also just making it a point to every day push for what makes you happy internally. Like I said, I personally like to work out, so every single day I'm in the gym, and really any day at all, I'm thinking, how can I get stronger? How can I get more fit? How can I increase my flexibility? Whatever it takes to be as strong as I can be. And I think just every single day waking up and thinking about those things. Don't overlook it. Think about those things. How can I be the best that I can be to make myself happy? Like, how can I do that? And I just think like I said, it gets overlooked. But if you can every single day, whatever it's, setting a reminder on your phone, writing it down, whatever, make yourself think about that. How can I be the best I can be every single day? Make a conscious effort to do that. And I think if you do that consistently, I highly doubt that if you think about that and take some step to better yourself, I highly doubt that you would remain sad for the rest of your life. Like, there's another Andrew Tate quote that I love is, I've never seen anyone dedicate themselves 100% to something and fail. Like, dedication is a utmost quality of a person. And if you can dedicate yourself to making yourself happy, because happiness is a mindset. If you dedicate yourself to that, I highly doubt that you would fail. And I just think, why would you want to be sad when you can be happy? Like, it's such a simple question, but it's a question that needs to be asked. Like, I hit a point in my life where I just remember thinking, instead of pointing out the negative parts of my day, why can't I just point out the positives? It's
Gratitude.
Like, it's such a simple question, but I realized that I hadn't been asking myself that for the first however many years of my life. And when I thought about it, I was like, what the heck am I doing? You know, like
Yeah.
why have I not been thinking about this? I wasn't, I wouldn't say I was depressed as a kid, but I definitely was more negative, and I just thought, I am choosing to be negative. Like this is my choice, so why can't I just choose to be positive? You know, it's just these simple questions that get overlooked about your own happiness, that you can simply choose to make a different choice.
Yeah, I think there's just so many external sources in today's world. And I mean, I don't have a lot of social media. Gosh, I'm gonna really not.
You don't have
I'm
any.
gonna try not to go down a rabbit hole here, but there's so many external sources and keeping up with the Jones and just this person has that and then I'm not saying don't strive for more or to better yourself. I'm not saying, oh, just be thankful for what you have and sit there and accept it, you know. Everyone wants more out of their life, and it doesn't have to be financially or relationally or whatever, but you want to evolve and be better. But I think people just aren't grateful anymore. And I say this because I was the same way. You know, you just overlook the things that you have in your life. And I guess I feel like I bring this up in every podcast I've done, but, you know, I like to consider myself a minimalist, and there's people who are way more minimalist than me.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't like having things, and like I like going on trips, and me and my girlfriend just went on a trip, and you know we slept in the car, and to me, to most people that's just like, oh, that's rough, like I could never do that. But sleeping at a Love's in the car,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of roughing it is like what makes me happy, because it's so simple and raw.
Yeah.
And it's just not what the world displays. You know, everyone,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you gotta get a nice hotel when you're traveling, or don't you want all these luxuries? And we just overlook the simple stuff.
It's good that you say that, because if you're happy with the basic necessities, you're going to be happy with everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you always need the best hotels, you know, for traveling, best hotels, the best plane tickets, whatever, you will never be happy. And I say that seriously. If you require a certain level of comfort, you will never be happy for the rest of your life, because nothing will ever be good enough. Like you said, keeping up with the Joneses. It's like you know, you go on a vacation, you see somebody post like, oh, they're in so and so's hotel, I want to be there next time. Well, then you just start a trend of always chasing the next best thing, and there will always be the next best thing until you die. And it's such a hard trap not to fall into in today's world. Like when you have social media, whatever, oh, so and so is doing this, you will never be happy if you continue with that thought process. Never. So the fact that you can be perfectly happy in your car, that's how you be happy, you know. That's how you should be happy.
I think the hardest part is still pushing to achieve more and wanting more. Like, you know, you say you're going to the gym. Obviously, you're trying to achieve a goal and you're pushing yourself, you know. But it's a very fine line of having that motivation and push and drive, and also, you know, recognizing your past and being thankful for everything that you have accomplished. And I think you just got to be careful on how those, you know, because sometimes you just keep striving more and you're like, oh, you're never grateful, or you're just perfectly fine where you're at and you never evolve. So I think it's finding a balance of both, and it's challenging because I see it in my own life.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's something that you in Western culture, I know it's something that you don't think about on a daily basis. Like I was saying, it's just, you know, there's so many other distractions in the world to keep you away from those basic things. Is that-
fast moving society. Everything's so fast.
And I think that's the reason why I think a lot of, like if I was reading about Nero, a Roman emperor, he is the opposite of what we're talking about, because he was, I mean, the man was crowned emperor at the age of 16, and like we were just saying before the podcast started, for all the things that you wish for when you're 18, thank God I didn't get them. I mean, when I was 16, I shouldn't have even been driving a car, let alone become emperor of a whole empire. So you think, I mean, how many distractions did that guy have? How many distractions did that kid have?
Yeah.
Right? He had access to every person and all the money in the whole Roman Empire at 16. So he is never going to be satisfied with anything, right? And I think that's why so many, like, such a small number of people throughout history have been emperors, kings, queens, whatever. But of that small number of people, how many of them were actually good? How many of them actually deserved to have the role of emperor? I was also reading about Marcus Aurelius. That was right around the time before or after Nero. And he's the godfather of the Stoic philosophy. And personally, I think that somebody like that should have the role of emperor, because they're not worried about all the money and riches that come with being emperor. They're worried about the people that they serve, and serve, not tyrannically rule over, serve. So I think somebody like that who is content with themselves, emperor is just kind of like a side gig for them almost. They're focused on their own self and how can I be happy with myself and how can I share that and serve the people. Again, on social media, you see these, millionaires, billionaires on these big fancy yachts and all that kind of stuff. That is such a small portion of their time. Mm-hmm. So maybe an hour. And even when they're on that yacht, they're still working. It's not like they're just kind of sitting back, spending hours a day, partying. No, that that part that you see is such a small portion of their life. All the other time is working. Mm-hmm. And they enjoy it. Because if they didn't enjoy it, they wouldn't do it. So I think when you can enjoy, and I know we're talking about a big lavish lifestyle on how to be happy with yourself and the simple things, but when you can enjoy the process like they do, that's what makes you happy. Like I enjoy working on this stuff because my goal here is to spread positivity especially for the younger people. It can be for anybody, but I think the younger people, like our age and younger, are in desperate need of a good word from people, because it's just, not only do you have social media where you only see the top of the top, well, look at this person keeping up with the Joneses. It's like, not only do you see that, but then you also have a lot of young people that are not hearing encouraging words from good parent figures or their workplace or whatever. They're not hearing that. So I think that's my goal is to try to help along the message of people like Jordan Peterson, that young people need an encouraging word, and they need to learn to be happy with themselves and not feel like they need to go to external sources for their happiness, because that's just a placebo effect. That's short-term happiness. That's not happiness from within that you can share to other people. Is I think the most confident people, it's almost like they have light coming from behind them, like a halo over their head. Like you can tell a confident person because they can share that energy with other people, right? That somebody that relies on external sources, I've never met someone, maybe there's someone out there, but I've never met someone that can do that is not happy with themselves. I haven't,
You're gonna go down a rabbit trail. I told you, you'd start talking and it lasts forever because you just want to talk about so much. There's so many things I want to say. We're just gonna have to keep doing more podcasts, but
Yeah.
I feel like I always just relay back to just minimalism, but just simplifying.
Mhm.
That's like,
Less is more.
I guess, quick side note, and the reason why I've kind of, and I'm not like living off the grid and minimalist like that. Okay, I mean, I have a lot of things, but like, I just always try to get rid of things, and everything that I have, I want it to have a purpose, and it needs to do something for me in my life. Everything I have, everything. It could be a painting on the wall. That painting on the wall has to do me. That has to be from, somebody specific for this reason. Like I'm not gonna go to the store and buy, a painting from Target and put it on my wall.
Yeah.
But just simplifying, and just appreciating the little things. But just less is more.
Mhm.
Like that fortune cookie I had was
Yeah.
perfect. I can't believe I got that.
Yeah. But, you say less is more, and, talking about just, like, I feel like the less you have, the more you appreciate what you have,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's the right direction to go. And, nobody's going to be perfect, but I think I'm kind of the same way. Like, I hate clutter, and if something doesn't, and my mom was always saying like, oh, you should keep this from when you were a kid and all that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, it may have some sentimental value, but having it is causing me anxiety just because it's sitting in the closet. Like, I know some people have different viewpoints on that. Like, oh, keep this from my grandfather, or whatever. Unless it's like a war medal or something, but just little things, I don't like having them.
I'm the same way.
Just because I
Same
would
way.
much rather open my closet and see clean, organized space than just, oh, yeah, I had that from when I was 2, and this toy is from, like, no, I don't care about that stuff. Like, the less stuff I have in my life, the better. And, there's all those memes about a living room with a lawn chair and a TV on the floor. And it says, it doesn't take much to make a man happy, Like, I totally get that.
When I had my house, I slept on the couch for 2 years, and that couch was from 1960 with original vinyl. And I slept on that for literally, almost 2 years. I mean, my bedroom at my house, which I didn't even sleep in, had a bed in it. On the floor. That was it.
Yeah.
I had nothing on the walls, no nightstands, no nothing. Literally nothing. Just my bed. And that was it. My other spare bedroom had nothing in it. My kitchen looked like I didn't use it because all it had was my hand soap in there. That was out. Everything else was in the cupboard. And just like...
Yeah, the first time I walked in your house, I was like, oh, this is so Brent.
But you just, like I said, I want everything to have a purpose. And once you start getting rid of things, you realize that, those things... I remember when I was like 13 and I wanted to start selling things. And I got rid of my Game Boy and everyone's like, oh, why? You still play that. But it's just like, once it was gone...
You don't miss it.
You think you would miss it, but you don't. And then people always say, the point that you brought up, like, oh, you're going to use that again. Or to me, I've always been like, well, I'm going to sell it now because I don't have any plan to use it. And if I need it in the future, I'm, have enough money to buy it again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that could be a whole other topic, but...
Yeah, it's just these things... talking about what makes you happy as a person, these things, they may be nice to have. Like, if you're, I have a couple of things from my grandparents that, I can't get rid of. But a lot of these little things, they don't give me happiness. And like we were saying, I like clean space rather than clutter.
And happiness is just doing this
Yeah.
with some
Absolutely.
tiki stools and,
Yeah.
you know, that's to me just having a blast like this is that's what life's all about. Like
Yeah.
if we were to have a perfect setup, we will always remember this time over the times that we will have in the future when it's a really nice setup, and just because it's gonna be like, wow, that we had a blast and we did it on tiki stools.
Yeah. Like I guarantee you, I will remember today when I breathe in my last breath. Hopefully in many years.
Yeah.
Not tomorrow, I hope. But I will remember today for sure. Because like you said, this is, first time going around. I will remember this until the day I die. And this is simple, happy joy.
I love it.
So I think we're going to wrap it up there. I want to thank you for anyone that's tuning in. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Because some people are happy just hiking. There's some people that just want to get up in the morning and have granola and go for a walk, and that's what makes them happy. And there's other people that want to lock themselves in an office and write a book, and that's what makes them happy. And there's some people that just want to go to the gym. They just want to have a good job and then take yoga all day. Do whatever you want to do, but you gotta leave everybody else alone. And so many people want to control other people because they don't have control of their own life.
The happiest moments that you feel is when guys DM you saying, "You changed my life. You helped me find myself."
What more fulfilling work could there be than knowing some kid is somewhere going through the same struggle that you went through, is now walking through the same shoes that you once walked through, which is a very confusing place. What the f do I do with my life? How do I make sure I'm successful? Look at all these people doing well. How do I get myself in that position? For me to feel like I'm helping somebody do that, there's nothing more fulfilling in the world that I can do.
First meal I was so lucky enough to find in my pocket this energy bar. It's so cool because today I lost a few combat brothers. Also I destroyed a few invaders. I received so much emotions for my whole future life, and of course physically and emotionally disgusted. I'm so appreciated to eat this delicious energy bar, and I realized that life is amazing, guys. That's true. That's totally true. So if I'll survive here, my life will be even more valuable than before because I'm sure that life is great present.